just got a box in from CGC, 25 modern slabs, some Star Wars, some option titles, some key issues, some hardcover artists, a ton of stuff. And see any 9.8s we get? You're going to want to see this one. Welcome back to No Coast Comics. Jeremy here as always. Like I said, just got a batch of books from CGC. Before we get started on that, want to show you guys a few books from previous submissions. I had some duplicates and they weren't that exciting, but there's 4 books. A couple of them we talked about before. Just wanted to show you guys the results. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. I really appreciate all the support. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, comments, suggestions, what you don't like. I love to see all the comments. Really appreciate all of the feedback I've been getting from you guys. So let's see what we got. So this book I sent in, it was one of the collections. It was this big 90s collection that I got, and it was all in these big tubs, you know. It looked like it had been bagged and boarded, you know, back in the 90s and not even touched. So I was shocked by the condition of some of these for as rough as the overall collection had been handled. So this one, Death Made Black, the gold edition. Now this is the first appearance of Gen 13 and the first full appearance. And this was an incentive. I'm not sure on the ratio completely. It might have been like a 1 in 100 even, 1 in 50. I have to check on the ratio. But yeah, this came out of that 90s collection that had a bunch of Silver Surfer and a bunch of foil covers. So that was pretty cool to get back in a 9.8. This next one I picked up around the same time as that collection, which was probably a couple months ago now. And I was expecting a 9.8 of this. It looked really nice, but didn't happen. So Wolverine number 8, the cover with the Hulk. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic cover right there. And I may have shown you guys this one before, but yeah, cool book. Might not have showed you. If I did, sorry. This one, I'm pretty sure I haven't. Spawn 174. Now, I had been trying to sell this book as raw for years when I do the occasional comic show. I'd had it on my wall for I think around $90 to $100, and it just wouldn't sell. You know, nobody even looked at it. I don't know if, you know, people just didn't know what it was, but I gave it another look on one of my recent CGC submissions, I think 2 or 3 submissions ago, and I just grouped it in with a whole bunch of dupes that you guys have already seen of. But this one was, you know, one I thought I would take a risk on. I did press it before I sent it in, and there's a couple areas, you probably can't even see them, but non-color breaking spine ticks that pressed out pretty good, and they gave me the 9.8, so super happy about this one. The first appearance of the Gunslinger Spawn. Yeah. And the last one from a previous submission that I haven't shared with you guys yet. Ice Cream Man number 1, second printing. I was not fortunate enough to get any first printings of this book, even though I was going to. I must have had something else going on in my life that I totally spaced it, but I did get a couple second printings, and this came back a 9.8. Cool, creepy character, cool, creepy cover right there. The Ice Cream Man, the arachnid. Yeah. All right, so let's get these out. So that's the old stuff. Let's talk about the new stuff. I have looked at this already, so it's not going to be like a, you know, super secret unboxing video, but it is pretty exciting. First one, Star Wars Legacy number 1 from Dark Horse in 2006. Now this has a ton of first appearances. This book has been getting pretty hot lately with some spec and just all of the Star Wars books in the Star Wars universe. It's like it's got the first Darth crate, the first Kate Skywalker. There's like 6 first appearances in this book. I picked this up in a collection quite a while ago, but it looked nice enough that I gave it a quick press before I sent it, and we got the 9.8, so happy about that one. And tons of those, you know, Star Wars books have been skyrocketing in value from like the 2000s, like a lot of the Knights of the Old Republic, and you know, those are pretty hard to find, especially in high grade. Speaking of Star Wars, we got Darth Maul number 2. That was the first appearance of Cad Bane. I believe his first cover appearance is on the next issue. So not a super exciting cover there for Cad Bane, but nonetheless, it's his first appearance at a 9.8. It would be awesome if we saw Cad Bane, you know, pop up in The Mandalorian or one of the other live action, you know, Disney projects that are in the works right now for Disney Plus. Happy to get that 9.8. Another hot book right now, Thor #1. Now this is when Jane Foster becomes Thor. Yeah, that's what it says right there on the list. That becomes the new Thor, obviously. But yeah, happy to get the 9.8 on that book. I had this one a little while too. I picked it up in the collection, I think, at the start of the year, so January-ish in 2020. And yeah, super happy to have that one come back. A lot of spec with the new Thor Love and Thunder movie. She's supposed to be in it. I'm kind of predicting there's going to be some love between her and Valkyrie in it. They're going to go that direction, but you know, that's just my guess. Being the love and thunder aspect of it, but we'll see. No stranger to this book. Superboy #9, first full appearance of King Shark, right, CGC? Yes, first full appearance of King Shark. Suicide Squad movie, what is it, 2021, 2022? Somewhere around there supposed to come out? I think 21. I'll check on that, but looking forward to seeing James Gunn, you know, how he redoes the Suicide Squad in the, you know, DC movie universe. So that should be exciting. 9.8 there. This is another one of those books that came from that 90s foil collection, I think. Yeah, it was. Mark Spector Moon Knight #57 in a 9.8. This is an homage to Amazing Spider-Man 301. And, you know, kind of has the same feel as 300, which, you know, 301 did obviously, but honestly, with Moon Knight down there and just everything going on in the cover, like, you know, other than the white background of 301, I mean, that's an iconic, you know, cover. You're not gonna, you know, change that, but I really like this cover. It's really cool. Just that homage, and we get that in 9.8. But on this one, I've had a while. I gave it a press before I sent it off, and lucky enough to come back with a 9.8. Captain America Annual #8, The Battle with Wolverine. I love this book, I love this cover. I even thought about sending this in to get signed, because they had Mike Zeck, John Beatty, and I think Jim Shooter were at the CGC offices all at one time for a signing. And I wasn't really convinced it was going to be a 9.8, and I usually don't send books into the signings, very rarely, but yeah, happy to get a 9.8 on that. I mean, that book's from 1986. I don't have a lot of books really from the 80s that I feel confident enough to send in for a 9.8. Okay, if you guys are not reading Department of Truth, highly recommend it. What even to say? If you love conspiracy theories, if you like mysteries, James Tynion is the writer, you know, he's written Batman and Something is Killing the Children. Speaking of that title, this cover is an homage to that book. That's why it looks so much like it, if you know that book and the art of the cover of #1 for Something is Killing the Children. And this was the 1 in 100 variant. This book came out in September, so a few months ago, and lucky enough to grab a couple of these. I think there's one more in here, we'll see. Pretty sure. And yeah, 9.8 on that, the 1 in 100 variant. There's a lot of variants of this book. I like probably about half of them. I'm not going to collect them all, there's way too many. I'm not variant chasing any books anymore, but excited about that. And speaking of, here's the other one. So I got 2 copies of this. I pressed, I think both of them, maybe just one, before I sent it off, and yeah, lucky to get the 9.8. Well, fortunate to get the 9.8 on both those. And this one, I actually ordered this before that book even came out. It was a pre-order. And this is the I think there were, what was it, 300 or 400 of these made. It's a Peach Momoko Department of Truth #1 Virgin variant. I think the only place that you could get this was from Scott's Collectibles. I don't know if James Tynan is going to have any on his website at any point, or if he has it or not, or if he's going to have them at conventions he's at or what, but they had 3 versions of this. I got all 3. This was just the regular Virgin variant. I think this is the most highly printed one of the 3, but hot cover artist there, Peach Momoko. I think CGC is working on getting a signing with her in-house too, from what I hear. And this is the more hard to find variant that Scott's put out of this book. Again, Peach Momoko. There is 100 of these, I believe. Only 100 copies. I got all these raw in the set from Scott's Collectibles, and I mean, this looked beautiful. It has the same red foil as the Negan Lives #1 variant that came out in the Skybound boxes, which they printed, I think, 500 of those, but yeah, I think there's only 100 copies, so this is pretty cool. Just have this in a 9.8. The fact it showed up so nice that it gets shipped, you know, and there's only 100 of them, so happy to have that one. Okay, this is a really thick book. I picked this up from Frankie's Collectibles. I mean, this is huge. Another Peach Momoko. Detective Comics 1027. Now this was their exclusive. This is the trade dress variant. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Peach Momoko, honestly. Like, a lot of her stuff I enjoy, but every once in a while there's something that's like so miss in my book that's like too watercolor, but the way that she really blended the Joker in there with Batman's cape, I just love the composition of it. And to go along with that, we have the Virgin variant, also in a 9.8. Same thing, I'm not going to say much more about it, but you know, definitely sleek looking cover. I'm a fan. Yeah, I think this is the second copy I've had of this book. Yeah. First full appearance of Starling from Miles Morales Spider-Man #6 from 2019. I've talked about this in a previous video. I think there's a lot of room for this to grow, especially if they use the character in, you know, one of the new animated films, or even, you know, popping up sometime in Disney Plus. You just don't know. But, you know, cheap book to get right now, especially if you can find it in high grade. So definitely recommend that one. This book, I was very happy. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a 9.8, but it looked very nice. With the all white spine there, I was worried there's one spine tick, but since it's not color breaking, I think they you know, sided with me on that, you know, get the 9.8. So yeah, Invincible Iron Man #7, first appearance of Riri Williams, first cameo? No, just yeah, first appearance and cameo on last page. So it was announced that they're making an Ironheart series for Disney Plus, and I had this book on the way to CGC or at CGC when I was, yeah, it was at CGC, like right in the process of grading when that was announced. So super happy about that 9.8 as well. And to go along with that, Invincible Iron Man #9. Now this is the first full appearance of Riri Williams. I've had a few copies of this book, none this nice. Another 9.8. Oh, yep, and I don't know if this is harder to find, easier to find, but she's actually on the cover in this one right here. This is the second print of this book, Invincible Iron Man #9. First full Riri Williams, and this might be her first cover, I really don't know, because yeah, could be, I need to look that up. Second printing to go along with that. Love this cover. This, huge fan of homages, especially when they kind of cross between subsets of, you know, fandoms. Incredible Hulk 441, She-Hulk there, and an homage to Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino. Not a hugely expensive book, even at 9.8. I think it's under $100, maybe 80 bucks-ish. But I had this book for a while. I was kind of on the fence about sending it or not, gave it a press, and came back 9.8. Just hilarious, like all of the little things here, like you got the Captain America shields, you got the Punisher back there, Fantastic Four lampshade, and then it says Hulk Fiction down here too. Okay. Another one I was kind of on the fence about, but pressed it and turned out good. New Avengers number 7. First appearance of the Illuminati. Is it cameo, full? Just says first appearance. And then a few other appearances too, but some speculation rumors on this book as well, with the latest round for phase 5 of the Disney Plus shows and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. People think we could be shaping up to a version of the Illuminati team, which would be cool to see. I've had a few copies of this. I always have some issues with some spine ticks, but this one was pretty nice, so got the 9.8. Captain Marvel, Volume 4, number 16. I think this is the first cameo by Lavelle. I'm pretty sure number 17 is the first full appearance, which I have a couple of those I'm going to be looking at here to probably send in on my next submission. But I think this is a pretty awesome cover, personally. I love the green, that background. Yeah, 9.8. Here's a book that it's been optioned a couple times now. I don't know if it's ever going to get made. Todd, the Ugliest Kid on Earth, number 1. I think I've had 3 or 4 copies of this book. Yeah, I'm hoping that they make it just because the story is like so bizarre, but we'll see if it ever comes out. I think I had another couple slots in my submission, and I just figured, yeah, I'll send one of these in because this looks pretty nice. So, 9.8 there. Okay, we got a couple of these. When they announced that Black had been optioned, I headed over to the Black Mask store real quick, and they still had some of these copies on hand for cover price. So I grabbed a few, and fortunately a couple came back. Well, it showed up from Black Mask, and they were nice enough that I tried to submit them. Now, there was some color rub right up in here that I was able to get off just with a kneaded eraser. So there's a quick tip. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but kneaded erasers are just kind of like this gray malleable eraser you can get from craft stores for white covers and white areas. They were great. As long as you don't rub too hard, just want to rub really lightly, you can get a little bit of ink rub off most of the time. And it worked on this one. So this story is really interesting to me. I hope it gets made. And while we're talking about it, I'll just grab the other copies here, because I got another one of the number 1A cover. And I think this is variant cover B. I think this was an incentive, like 1 in 10, 1 in 15 by Ashley Woods. Yeah, Ashley Woods. Ashley Mann, I believe. He is pretty well known for doing the zombies versus robots covers for IDW. And I think a lot of, if not all, the interior art. Don't quote me on that, but I know he does the covers. Great artist. And not sure what happened on this one, guys, but I got a 9.4. I mean, still near mint, but I'll need to check the grader's notes, but yeah. And finally, we're down to our last book. Now, this book, I've been looking for a copy, an affordable copy, for a long, long time. Probably going on, I don't know, 4 or 5 years at least. It's always been on my radar. I've never wanted to pull the trigger at retail. You know, just it's one of those that I mean, we all have our list of books we'd love to buy if it was, you know, a reasonable price. But I wasn't really seeking out specifically. I was on eBay, I was looking at auctions ending soon, and I just happened to find this one. It was, I think it had like an hour left. I super lucked out, the bid was pretty low, and it was a whole lot of the entire run of the series. And let me show it to you. Why the Last Man #1, 9.8. Now, again, I was on eBay, I found this. I think the bid was around $100 or so. And the funny thing was, it said it was the full run, but you couldn't see this book anywhere in the photo. Like, all you could see was just a sliver of just a little logo, like right there in the corner. And so I did some sleuthing just to make sure that, you know, it wasn't like a reprint, you know, one of the, what was it, like before Watchmen, I think around that time they printed a reprint of this, and I think there's a version that has like #1 and 2 combined. I want to make sure it wasn't anything like that. You know, I didn't know how nice it was. I figured for the money it'd be worth it to risk it. I think I ended up getting it for right around $190 or $200 shipped for the entire run, which is 1 through 60, I think, right around there. And I mean, when it showed up, it was, nothing was bagged and boarded. This was luckily towards the middle of the stack. I may have asked them to put it towards the middle, but it showed up in, you know, just a box, luckily between some cardboard, but, you know, the books were all staggered. It had a little bit of spine wear, a little bit of color rub, but once again, it was right in this white area, so a little bit of that Kneaded Eraser, and it came right off. I think I gave it a quick press, and here's the results. So very happy to finally get, after years and years of searching for a reasonably priced copy, Why the Last Man, and to boot, it came back a 9.8. So probably one of my favorite books of the year right there. So that's it, guys, 25 modern slabs. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit that thumbs up for me. Also hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and hit the bell notification. That one lets you know when I post new content. Had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.